Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome, whether you are in school in the classroom or you are, in fact, the majority who are at home. We are still one family, and we always will be one family, right through this and out through the other side as well. So let's start this assembly this week with We Are Family. Sing up. As always, foundation stage are ready, all come in smartly. Well done, that's lovely. Thank you. For year 6, making an early appearance, good, we need you. And here comes year 5. Here we go. Well done. That was a great start. First time we've done that in 2021. And since it's still January, Feliz Año Nuevo a todos. Gracias. Anyway, it's that time. Now, before you press the button, Mr. Britton, remember, everybody, teachers will be showering golden moles in the classrooms. And then at the key moment, we'll be pressing, you might see that finger appear again, pressing the golden button to send the golden moles home to you. A lot went out last week. So, gold! Gold! Always believe in your soul. You've got the power to know you're indestructible. Always believe it. You are gold. I found your about to return. comes the finger. Okay, so teachers, press that button. Send those golden moles home. Well done all of you for your hard work at home. It means an awful lot to us, but it means a lot to you as well. Your way to keep up. Don't give in. Whether you're here or home, you're gold. Go! Always believe in your soul. You got the power to know you're indestructible. Always believe it. You wanna go. I'm glad that you're about to return. Something I can learn. You're indestructible. Always believe it. Excellent. Well, that was exciting. Oh, well, last week I went through 10 things that I felt that we had learned through 2020. And 10 things possibly to help us get through this final hurdle of lockdown. And I invited people, if they wished to share with me their words of wisdom, their thoughts. And I've got one, which I'm going to share today. And this came from Mrs. Coda, in fact, who really enjoyed the assembly. And this is what she said. This is her words of wisdom. And it is, rediscover yourself. And actually, that is a brilliant one. Because if you think back to what life was like, before, if we can even remember what life was like before all this happened, you know, we can fill our lives with so much stuff. So many of us, so many of you children had so many activities which I know you're missing, and rightly so. But we can fill our lives with so much that we forget actually just to take that step back and rediscover who you are, what actually matters to you. Again, it comes back to being kind to yourself, but actually thinking about who you are and what actually really matters to you. I think that possibly is what has happened over this year. We've realised what does matter. And I was talking to the staff only today about when this is all over, we won't actually go back to exactly as things were. And that's not something to worry about. It's because there are some things actually which have been a little bit better, actually. And some things that were chaotic or whatever before, we don't need it to be like that in the future. So we can rediscover a better future. But most importantly, make sure that you put yourself there in the middle of it. Because as I've said before, and I said last week, you are all beautiful and we all matter. So again, if you have any ideas, there's my email address, mloncaster@molescoveprimary.net. So it's open to members of staff, pupils, governors, parents, carers, grandparents, anybody out there who would like to share a few words of wisdom. Now then, it's no surprise to say that we only live on one world. We only have one home. And there it is, our planet Earth. And it's a fantastic series back on. I mean, David Attenborough, that man is just unbelievable. I think he's in his 90s now. And yet another beautiful series about our perfect planet and our perfect home. And we've only got the one. If it all goes wrong, we can't just get on a rocket. I know we've got spaceships these days, but not for billions of people. We can't just go off. We've got nowhere else to go to anyway. And yet that beautiful, beautiful globe, I mean, we take it for granted, we know, and yet, when I was born, nobody had seen it from out in space, because nobody had actually been into space. It was in 1969, the first man actually landed on the moon. And that is our beautiful home. And yet, you can look at it in a different way. That's the world spread out to form a map. And it's a very divided world. And it's very colourful, that, actually, because every country's been coloured in with its flag. And it's amazing how you can spot the biggest countries. You know, we think we're important. We all know where the United Kingdom is, but we're very tiny, aren't we? There's some very, very big expanses, some very big countries there. But each flag is celebrating its own country. And yet, we can't be like that, can we, really? We've got to work together. It's all well and good. I think the world looked a little bit more beautiful when it was like that, just coloured in by the green of the trees, the browns, perhaps even of the deserts, and certainly the blue of the sea. So our world is divided by many, many countries, but also, as we know this year, it is a world which is suffering. It's sad. Its heart is broken. I don't really need to ask you. It's been coloured in there in shades of red, going to a very, very dark red. And that is showing the incidence of COVID-19 around the world. There isn't a place where it hasn't been to. Everywhere has been affected. And you can see some countries more than other. In fact, we are in the darkest red section, along with the United States, Brazil, countries that we've visited our international fortnight, Russia, we've been there before, India we have, all in the darkest zones, but everywhere in that world suffering. A divided world, but still suffering together this terrible virus. But also, on the other hand, a united world. Because that, I don't know if that map comes across on this big screen, I hope it does, and you can see there in yellow, or a very pale yellow, countries which are working together to form the vaccine, to discover vaccines to fight that virus. And the thing is, most of those are not working in isolation. They are working together to solve it. Scientists from one country working with scientists in another, working with people in hospitals in other countries. One of the vaccines that we have at the moment, and as I'm recording this assembly now, we're about 5 million people vaccinated. That's amazing. But a lot of those trials were in Brazil, because they needed to find a lot of people who were suffering with COVID or were in threat of being catching it during the summer when there weren't so many people here in that condition or in that threat zone. So united world working on there. And that has led to a hopeful world. And those countries there coloured in blue are countries which have started to roll out the vaccine to their populations. But there's a bit of a worry on that map, because if we're a united world, those blue countries need to go all over the world. We all need to have access to that. We've got to share it. Here's Brazil, look. They haven't started the vaccine going out yet, and yet that country we needed to help test it to make sure that it's safe. We've got to share that. The whole world has got to be united in receiving that vaccine, or the vaccines. We've got 3 that are approved here, but there are others that are approved in other countries which seem to be just as effective. And let's just think about a world working together. That Oxford vaccine, which we're very proud of our scientists for coming and researching and creating, but it's made in Germany and the Netherlands. The Pfizer vaccine is made in 40 different places all over the world. And the Moderna vaccine, which is the most recent one we've approved in this country, is made in the United States. So again, it just goes to show we have got to work together. We're not just an island which is unaffected. We can't just, if we just inject ourselves out of this problem, doesn't mean to say we can go anywhere else. We have got to work as a global society. We've got to work together. And that leads me to this. Because normally, next week would be one of the most exciting assemblies of the school year, when I announce our international festival and where we're going to go. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing that next week, because we are obviously in this lockdown situation, and we've decided to postpone it to the last 3 weeks before the Easter holiday. And the reason we're doing that is because we desperately want to hope, fingers crossed, that we can get you all back so that we can experience it together. if we're not all back, we'll still do it, and we'll make sure those of you at home get just as exciting experience as we do in school. In fact, we've just been planning that tonight. But it reminds me of why we do this work on internationalism, why we talk about other countries, because we need other countries. We need to understand people all over the world. We've got to work together. This year has shown us that more than ever, surely. And by doing that, by our scientists working together, by industries and engineers and factories and entrepreneurs and governments actually working together and not being selfish, by learning those lessons, which is what we do with our international festivals, we make a better world. And because that has happened this year, in record time, these vaccines have been made. So, long may our international festivals last. Long may they reign. And as I say, we very much hope that at the end of March, we'll all be here to celebrate our excursion to... Still keep singing, Simon. Mr. Britton thought I was going to say it.
I nearly shouted it out.
Yes, well, you would have had to have edited that one out. We'd be in big trouble. Okay, now then, as we found out in the telethon, there is one hymn in this school which is by far and away the most popular. And I understand on the night of the telethon when it was played, there was children singing it out of front doors and bedroom windows and all the rest of it. So 11 times, por favor, vamos a cantar, and I got the power in me.
When the race is nearly done, and I feel I can't go on, I know I can do something about it. My heart will start to race, my body find the motion, and now I'm feeling power from within. I've got the power in me, you've got the power in you. I've got the power, got the power, got the power in me. Nobody's gonna hold me down, nobody's gonna silence my voice, nobody's gonna close my mind. I've got the power in me. When someone's needing help and the world just walks on by, I know I can do something about it. I'll stand up for their rights, my voice will find a way, and now I'm feeling power from within. I've got the power in me, you've got the power in you. I've got the power, got the power, got the power in me. Nobody's gonna hold me down, nobody's gonna silence my voice, nobody's gonna close my mind. I've got the power in me. When my mind is closing down and I'm lacking inspiration, I know I can do something about it. No one can stop me learning, create my dreams and future, and I'm feeling power.
As you're not standing up, stand up now.
I've got the power in me, you've got the power in you. I've got the power, got the power, got the power in me. Nobody's gonna hold me down, nobody's gonna silence my voice, nobody's gonna close my mind. I've got the power in me. We got the power, you got the power. I've got the power in me. We got the power, got the power in me. Nobody's gonna hold me back. Nobody's gonna silence my voice. Nobody's gonna close my eyes. I've got the power in me.
Oh, I hope you did that proud. It is your favourite hymn. You voted for it. In your hundreds, in fact. Now, I have a wish. And this wish is from me, and it's for all of us. If you'd like to make it a prayer, you put your hands together, or close your eyes, or show an amen at the end. We may all live on an island, but if we have learned anything this year, we live on one planet. And what affects one person at the other side of the world soon affects all of us. We've also learned, though, that we can make these links and we can learn from each other. We can share ideas and find solutions. Together, we choose to make the world a better place. But to do that, we have to reach out to each other. Amen. Sentaos, por favor. Thank you, everybody. Our music to go out to is a song, again, which we did in the last lockdown. And I was hoping that we would launch it in assemblies back in September. Of course, we didn't get that chance. So it's on hold, but I just thought I'm going to pop it in here. It's quite a simple one. Basically, when you sing the first verse, you've learnt the whole song. It's called Hallelujah. And again, it's a song to lift the spirits, which is what we need at the moment. But remember what I said before, far more of this is behind us than is in front of us. And actually, far more of January is gone than we've got to get through. Things every day, every week get brighter. Just in the morning, it gets a little bit lighter. So is the future. So join in with me with Hallelujah. I'm sure you remember it.
Hallelujah, sing a song. Hallelujah, we follow along. With a simple word, sing the word. We bless the sky and free the bird, and we fill our heart with joy.
Okay, you know it. That's it.
Hallelujah, sounds of love. Hallelujah, the sunshine above. Hallelujah, the bells will go ringing and ringing from dawn to night. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, day by day. Hallelujah, don't throw it away.
On you one.
Fly and spread your wings and try. Be free again like a butterfly. Come along and sing with us. Hallelujah.
Even Mr. Ralph's still fancy. That's very important, that little gap.
Hallelujah, the sunshine above. Hallelujah, the bells will go ringing and ringing from dawn to night. Hallelujah, hallelujah, all over the land. Hallelujah, let's rise from the start and sing it with all our heart. Hallelujah, hallelujah, sounds of love.
Bye bye. See you next week.